Pnc News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam, on KEQI and KTGM, and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Half a day and good evening. You're watching PNC News First. We are live from the Broadcast Center at Akanta. I'm Jolene Tovis. Thanks for tuning in. Topping our newscast tonight, a potential riot at the John F. Kennedy High School campus spurred the campus to initiate security procedures to address the incident. Let's check in with PNC's Amanda Dedicatoria for more.
Half a day, we're here at the John F. Kennedy High School just minutes after hundreds of students were dismissed after undergoing a campus lockdown following a report of a potential riot at around 11:40 a.m. A video recorded at the time of the incident depicts a student on a table hitting another student in their campus cafeteria, causing their peers to distance themselves from the dispute in alarm. The altercation then escalated, with several students breaking off to engage in separate fights, throwing both food as well as fists. Although school officials attempted to calm the incident and pull students away from the dispute, some of the students continued to react aggressively to those in their vicinity. According to Isa Baza, the public information officer of the Guam Department of Education, the high school campus underwent a lockdown in response to the potential riot. In addition, officers from the Guam Police Department as well as GDOE school resource officers from other school campuses were dispatched to assist with the situation. Although the scuffle was cause for some alarm, the students were released at their regular dismissal time of 1:45 p.m. Baza adds that no serious injuries were reported as a result of the riot and that 2 students were taken into custody by authorities. In addition, Baza provided a statement from GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez, which reads that the department is grateful for the swift response from the police department as well as school personnel in neutralizing the situation. He says that GDOE will ensure that there are appropriate consequences for all involved in today's incident. Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau says the police department is working with school officials to address the issue. Baza also adds that no further details will be released as the authorities are currently investigating the details of the riot. Turning our eye to crime, the Department of Corrections has launched an investigation after a detainee was mistakenly released from custody. Rodney Joe Cruz was released from DOC custody on Monday, but his release was an error. Let's take a look.
Rodney Joe Cruz was released from DOC custody on Monday, but his release was an error. While he was tracked down and brought back into DOC custody on Tuesday, DOC Director Samantha Brennan told PNC, quote, "It's an ongoing investigation and we cannot comment at this time," end quote. This raises the question, how was a detainee released by error? While that remains to be seen as DOC works to investigate the incident, this is not the first time this has happened. In February 2018, then DOC Director Tony Lamarena confirmed that a detainee was accidentally released from the Department of Corrections, citing that it was, quote, "an honest mistake," end quote. The detainee was Ben Espinoza, who is confined to the prison in multiple cases, and because of the mistake for a brief time, he was a free man. According to PNC files, Lamarena indicated that DOC received an order to release him, and so he was released, not realizing that Espinoza was being held in other cases. When DOC received the confinement list for Espinoza, 6 cases were listed, which matched up with the release order, but a separate confinement order was also received, listing 2 other cases. It wasn't until a cross-check was conducted that DOC caught the mistake. At this time, it is unknown if Cruz's release was under the same circumstances. Court documents state that Cruz was committed to DOC custody in February after authorities tracked him down for failing to abide by the conditions of his pretrial release related to a 2016 terrorizing case and a 2017 family violence and child abuse case. However, his criminal history dates back to 2001 and includes terrorizing, family violence, disorderly conduct, assault, and criminal mischief, to name a few. PNC asked Brennan if DOC would be reviewing its policies and procedures related to the release of detainees or inmates. However, no response was received as of news time.
In other news, what caused a fire to erupt at a warehouse in Agate last night? That is what the Guam Fire Department fire investigators are trying to figure out. GFD spokesman Kevin Riley has confirmed that investigation into the cause of the fire has been launched, stating, quote, "The investigation is ongoing and we cannot speculate the cause until it is complete," end quote. The fire was reported shortly after 6 last night by a passerby who told authorities that smoke was seen coming from Gresco Warehouse in Agate. Riley says when GFD's Engine 5 responded to the incident, they confirmed that it was a structural fire and additional units were needed to battle the blaze. Assistance was received from 6 GFD fire engines and 3 Naval Fire Department units, to include their confined space rescue team. The collaborative effort helped to bring the fire under control at around 7:30 p.m. and overhaul efforts were conducted. Pictures from GFD appear to indicate that the fire came close to an area where metal drums whose contents are unknown were stored. Riley stated that no injuries were reported from the public or responding personnel. A ship repair facility on island has been caught polluting Guam's waters.
An order from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency details allegations that Guam Shipyard was found to have committed multiple violations of the Clean Water Act, or CWA, in September 2018. The order indicates that EPA concluded that the facility has been discharging pollutants in stormwater and processed wastewater associated with industrial activity without a Clean Water Act permit, stating, quote, "Inspectors also observed the facility failed to control blasting grit, paint particles, and debris, which discharged directly into Apra Harbor, failed to have adequate secondary containment for oils, and did not have spill response equipment available, and had a large accumulation of waste materials throughout the site," end quote. Guam Shipyard has operated a ship repair facility since January 2016 on Cabras Island in Pidi, involving boat repair, sandblasting, high-pressure washing, and material storage. The facility conducts its operations on 2 locations, an onshore and on a floating crane docked in Apra Harbor. As a result, it was determined that stormwater runoff and processed wastewater from the facility discharged directly into the harbor through drainage pipes as well as overland flow. In one instance, EPA inspectors observed Guam Shipyard pumping turbid water over the side of the fuel barge and discharging it through a pipe into the surrounding waters. A release from the U.S. EPA states that they are requiring the facility to do the following: obtain permit authorization, develop a stormwater pollution prevention plan to control pollutants, install adequate controls to contain sandblast and abrasive blast materials, capture non-stormwater discharges to prevent their entry into Apra Harbor, and ensure spill response equipment is available on site. While no penalties were indicated in the order, it does state that the facility has 30 days to comply, further reserving the right of EPA to pursue remedies available under the law to include civil or criminal action to seek penalties, fines, or relief allowed under the CWA.
Well, stay with us. On the other side of the break, the National Science Foundation awards a grant to Guam, and the new Chili's location opens in Tumon. Don't go away.